Hello, Qualitas! Now, I'm gonna present to you the top 5 most important Rangers in the Power Rangers universe. Number 5. Dougie Kruger, the Shadow SPD Ranger.
Yeah! SPD Emergency! Shadow Ranger!
Is the most important and famous humanoid dog of all the Power Rangers. He comes from the planet Sirius, and one day the Emperor Groom forces attacked his planet and eliminate the entire race of Dougie Kruger. He created one of the characters that was going to change the Power Ranger history forever. Since that day, Dougie Kruger decided that his main goal is gonna be to eliminate the Emperor Groom forces, so he will start to fight against every evil lord and also to anyone who did evil in the universe. Now he's part of the Space Corps. One of the most famous hearings you can ever hear about this corps was Astronemas. Also, he was recruiting members for the SPD, the Space Patrol Delta, to be able to unite and make stronger what will be known as the rebellion against all the evil empires around the universe. And he will be active with all these people all around the universe. And after Zordon's death, he continued recruiting more people to maintain the order in all the universe. Among these, he started joining Rangers from different generations into the SPD. And also, he found out that the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers accept the offer to be a part of the SPD, and they start the rebellion against the Trubian Empire. Dougie also become the leader in charge of the Space Patrol Delta. Dougie will be a little bit traumatized because when he fight in the war against the Trubian Empire, he saw a lot of things and he saw all his people being dead in the floor. So bad that he never touched the battleground again, until one day he had to return to the battlefield and fight against the evil forces that had kidnapped Cat Mac. Therefore, so Dougie had to overcome his past and move forward because he wouldn't dare that something will happen to her. So he took his saber and went to the battlefield, and he will fight 100 droids at the same time, and he will destroy them all easily, and he will save Cat, and from now on he will be always known as the Shadow Ranger. And after that, many adventures together with the Rangers, but one of the most important was when he finds that the Power Rangers Dino Thunder come to the future, where Bloodwing bring the Power Rangers Dino Thunder to the future and try to steal their Dino Gems. However, the SPD Rangers step up to defend them and also help them restore their powers so they can fight together and defeat all the aliens that were trying to get the Dino Gems. Finally, they traveled back in time. Then there was another trip to the past where they had working together to defeat Groom and all his soldiers. Dougie Kruger after this have to face Emperor Groom and have an awesome fight, defeating him and then defeating Mora with a single swipe of his sword, destroying monsters so powerful that then he had to sacrifice his life to defeat his Megazord, but luckily he was able to survive along with Insignia. And finally, now that the Trubian Empire it has fallen, unfortunately the Emperor Groom has also survived, but now this is gonna be the final fight to defeat him once and for all. And now, without the Trubian Empire, they are left to take care of the universe and all the threats that they may come. However, with the passage of time, SPD was transformed into Time Force, and now they will not only be the guardians of the universe, but also the guardians of Earth and all time. As a fun fact, Dougie Kruger was also one of the few survivors of the attacks of Lord Drakkon, and one of the few teams that were able to defeat Lord Drakkon and his forces, as they were the ones who started the rebellion against him. And even when we doesn't know what happened to Dougie Kruger since then, we are sure that maybe he's right now working undercover or he's leading the SPD and saving people. He will never stop fighting, he always will be helping people and end up all the evil empires he came across. He is one of the most important Rangers in all history, and without him, all the universe will be doomed, because he was the only one who can lead the SPD Rangers to victory. So he deserves his place in this top as one of the most important Rangers in all history. Number 4. Carter Grayson, the Red Lightspeed Rescue Power Ranger. Rescue.
Lightspeed Rescue! Red Light Ranger!
was a boy who was rescued by a firefighter, which inspired him to be a better person and become firefighter as well. After time, he realized that he was the Commander Mitchells and find out that the Commander Mitchells was watching him to see his progress all this time and saw that he had a very good leader. Therefore, he gave him the opportunity to become the Red Power Ranger and the leader of the team. Carter was always willing to sacrifice his life for others, and as soon as it was offered to be the Red Ranger, he accepted the position without any hesitation, proving that his heart is always in the right place and he always will be brave and he will fight for good. Carter and his team fought against Queen Bansheera and his army of demons, which would dominate the planet if they did not stop them. Therefore, he was always trying to be the best ranger he could be. Carter also volunteered to test the power of the Titanium Ranger, which was a power too powerful for almost any human and almost killing him by just trying to transform. It was a power that only a few humans in the planet or aliens could use, and sadly, Carter wasn't strong enough to use this power. Carter never took days off, always had his mind on the mission, and always tried tirelessly help people. He directly confronted Queen Bansheera, one of the few that would manage to weaken her and cause her great damage and throw her into the tomb where she will be sealed and never coming back. And at the moment of falling into the tomb together, he asked to close the tomb. All through, he never cared if he was going to lose his own life. He was such a hero that he don't care what happened to him. He only wants to defeat Queen Bansheera so people can live happy ever after, even if he has to die. Even when he loses his powers, he continued helping people, and when they defeat all the demons, he was the one in charge of keeping an eye on what was happening on Earth, being the only Power Ranger active all the time, and he was always searching for new Rangers and new threats. So we can see that he's always working, he doesn't take any day off. He was also the first to meet with the Power Rangers Time Force and warn them of Vipra. He carried all his way alone until his companions appeared and helped him defeat the last demon that remained on the face of the earth and one of the most strong demons of all times. Also, he fought against Triskull and Trakina along with Leo in order to defeat them and protect the earth. And at the end, Trakina was infected with demon blood and transformed in one of the most powerful versions of Trakina, and Carter was one of the Rangers in charge of defeating her. Carter was also one of those in charge of getting Cole, the Red Wild Force Ranger, to come with him and the other Red Rangers for the mission of stopping General Benjix in the moon before he awakened Serpentera in the moon and then attacked Earth. And with the other Red Rangers, Carter was part of one of the most important events of all Ranger history, where they stopped the evil Machine Empire, saving the Earth and almost all the universe. And later, he was part of the legendary battle, the greatest battle of all history. And at the same time, to save as many civilians as possible. He is one of the few survivors of Lord Drakkon, being also one of the main ones to turn against him and start the rebellion. Therefore, Carter is one of the most important Rangers in all the Power Ranger history, being the one in charge of Earth, the only guardian of the Earth, and be one of the most important Rangers. And I doesn't doubt that in the future, maybe he was part of SPD on Earth, and also he always will be helping people because his mind is always focused on the mission and he doesn't think anything else. It's just like the Captain America of Power Rangers, and that's why he deserves a place in this top. Number 3. Andros, the Red Space Ranger.
Let's rock it! Red Space Ranger!
Is a human from the planet KO-35 and is one of the original Rangers in charge of fighting against the forces of evil, along with Zane, the Silver Space Ranger, and one of the most important Rangers in all the universe. Andros lived his life always angry and sad since he lived with the only mission of searching for his sister Caron, who was kidnapped when he was a child. Only mission is to search for her and rescue her. Andros is the one in charge of spying and knowing what are the plans of all the villains, being him the one who keeps informed the whole universe. Andros took on the Ninja Turtles along with his team, being one of the most famous crossovers in history. And also Andros and his team was the first team in charge of defeating the Psycho Rangers and being able to defeat them 3 times in a row, being the only team that could make this happen. And also we know that he was in charge of searching for Zordon and rescue him from all the evil forces all around the universe. And later we discover that Charon was actually Astro Emma, so he is the brother of the most important woman in Power Ranger history. And also he's one of the most important Rangers because he was also in charge of the destruction of Zordon, because with the death of Zordon all the evil lords and monsters were purified in the universe. However, it was one of the most difficult missions for him because of all the love he had for Zordon, being one of the most strong Rangers in history. And we can see that Andros, even when he finally ended up with the war with Astro Emma and Dark Spectre, he was still helping people and he was still searching for all future threats that may come to the Earth or to the universe, being always the spy and be always the one who gather all the information from different places and sources just to help all the good in the universe. He was always the guardian of the universe. He was a part in the event where the Pink Lost Galaxy Ranger died, and also Andros was part of one of the most important missions of all time, that was Forever Red, the mission of stopping General Bendix before he takes Serpentera and destroy all Earth and the universe. And he goes to the moon with all the Red Rangers at the time and destroy all the robots of the Machine Empire. And without him, we never even known that the General Bendix and the Machine Empire had survived and they were searching for Serpentera, being the one who called Tommy Oliver and start all the mission. Andros joins the others to fight in the legendary battle alongside his entire team and also fight with other generations at the same time, being one of the most important battles of all Power Ranger history. Is one of the few survivors of Lord Dragon attack, and Andros was also ready to go against him. However, he couldn't because of how the teams were divided. And Andros was also at the Astro Emma trial. Obviously, he was testifying on his behalf, as it was his sister the one who had been judged of all her crimes when she was Astro Emma, and he was able with Leo and Maya to help her up and be like a lawyer type figure and make all the crimes go away, mostly because she helped a lot when she was the Pink Lost Galaxy Ranger. And for all this and more, Andros is one of the most important Rangers, and also you can see that he was a very important part of all we know right now, because if he wasn't in the story, the Turbo Rangers never get any power. Maybe they will be dead. We never find out all the plans of Dark Spectre, and we never stop Astro Emma war. So he deserved his place in this top as one of the most important Rangers in history. Number 4. Jennifer Scott, or Jen, the Pink Time Force Ranger.
Time for Time Force.
She's a cop from the future who traveled back in time in order to imprison Ransik. After he killed Alex, his boyfriend, the Red Time Force Ranger from the future, her boyfriend at the time. Jen is an expert fighter, and because of the pain of her loss, at the moment of time travel, she is not affected by any temporal change. However, West managed to convince her that life was not just hate and began to fall in love. However, they knew it was an impossible love since due to time travel issue, it was impossible for them to be together. Jen managed to learn how to time travel without causing or any consequences to the future. Jen and her companions defend the Earth all the mutants attacks from Ransik, and they defend the Earth alongside Eric, the Quantum Ranger, and have a lot of fights, a lot of adventures, but at the end they have to leave. And when they had to leave, West tricked them and let them go to the future without him. And they discovered that at the end, in the final fight, there will be no survivor. West and Eric destinies, it was to die in that fight. However, they managed to travel to the past again, fight against Ransik and Franks in order to end all this fight and stopping the death of Eric and West. Jen was a very important part of the fight since she was in charge of fighting directly against Ransik. And Ransik, it was one of the most powerful villains of the moment and he was so strong that he could defeat all the Rangers with only one punch, and they only could stop him because her daughter was in danger, because when he attacked his daughter instead, so he surrendered in order to be arrested. Jen was in charge of defeating the Mute Orc, traveling to the past to eliminate them and join the Wild Force Power Rangers, and Ransik to defeat them in order to save the timeline. We doesn't know much about her, but we know that she's still around, helping to defend the timeline and searching for all monsters, aliens, mutants, or whatever evil lord that attained to destroy the timeline or the earth, and she will be always there to defend us. And we see her at the legendary battle where fight alongside the other Rangers of other generations, and also she was one in realizing the temporal changes of Lord Drakkon, and she went to try to stop the destruction of all timelines when all her team dies at the same time, being the only survivor of the first attack of Lord Drakkon. And she was part of the resistance, being one of the most important Rangers, and fight alongside them to stop Lord Drakkon. And also she was part in the fight against Vipra and the last demon on Earth, one of the strongest demons they were. She also became in charge of defending any problem in the timeline, and also she is the mentor of the Hyperforce Power Rangers and was known as the greatest ranger of all time, as she was the defender of time itself and one of the most important Power Rangers in all history, and she deserved his place in this top. Number 1. Wesley Collins, the Red Time Force Ranger.
Time for Time Force.
He was a rich boy that he doesn't want his future, because his dad was always thinking that he will take his place in the company and also he will be just like him, and he hated that. He hated all his future. So when he found out that he could be a Power Ranger, he was so happy about it that he will change the history of every Ranger forever. Also, he was the one who changed the mindset of Jen and make her believe that love can help us, that love will be the strongest force in the universe. Wes and his team fight against every different mutant of Ransik and also have a lot of adventures with his team. He fight against Eric, the Quantum Ranger, because of the old rivalry that they had. Wes was very brave and he was always fighting with all his heart. Even when everything seems lost, he was always there to fight. And when the future Rangers had to leave, he fight alongside Eric to stop the Doomsday. Even when they know that they couldn't win, they're gonna fight until their last breath. And also when Eric was hurt, he took his morpher and his power and he fight with two different kind of powers at the same time against all the army of robots. He was the most brave Ranger in history at the moment, until the other Rangers came along and helped him up. And he fight against Ransik. Even when he used his Battleizer and he lost, he fight face to face against Ransik without any fear. He was part of the defeating of Ransik, and he was now the leader of the Silver Guardians, and also was part of the destruction of the last most powerful demon on Earth, and Vipra. He helped the Wild Force Ranger and Jen in the fight against the Mute Orcs, one of the most important threats to the timeline and to the Earth, and together they fight alongside Ransik and defeat all the Mute Orcs at the same time, being one of the most important events of the Ranger history. Also, he was part of the mission of the Forever Red event, where he had to go to the moon and destroy the rest of the remainings of the evil Machine Empire, guided by the evil General Benjix, and he, alongside with all the Red Rangers of the time, fought bravely, saving the whole universe. He also was part of the legendary battle, where all the different Rangers of all generations were united to defeat Emperor Mabro army, and being one of the most important events of all Ranger history at the moment. Since that day, he was not only the Time Ranger, he was also now known as one of the most important Rangers, because he has to protect our reality, our dimension. And when he fight alongside Tommy Oliver, Koda, the Blue Dino Charge Ranger, and Gemma, the Silver RPM Ranger, against Lord Raven, who wants to destroy all dimensions with an special arrows that could destroy the fabric of reality. And we know that even when he's not around, and maybe we doesn't know anything about him, he will defend the Earth from different threats, and he will always be in charge of this dimension. He's one of the most important Rangers who defend our dimension, our time, our Earth, and everything in this universe. And sadly, he wasn't around in the Lord Drakkon event because he died trying to protect us of the destruction of the timeline. But if he could be there, he would be one of the most important threats to the evil empire of Lord Drakkon. So that's why Wes deserves his place in this top. But this is all, Koalitas! Do you think that there is any other Ranger that deserves to be in this top? Do you think that maybe I forget another Ranger more important than these ones? Let it in the comment. I want to read it. I want to know about it. I really want to know if you think there is any other Ranger more important than these ones. I know that maybe you will say that Tommy Oliver, but I would like to not use the Mighty Morphin Rangers right now. I want to change it a little bit. I want to present to you Rangers from other generations. They had so much importance in the universe. They doesn't have the importance they deserve. So I hope you can find another Ranger that they are not from Mighty Morphin, and tell me, do you believe they are most important than these ones? Do you believe that I missed someone, that maybe there is someone more important? Put it in the comments. I want to read it. And if you like the video, please don't forget to put a like, comment, share. If you want to keep watching more videos just like this one, please don't forget to subscribe. And this will be all, Koalitas. See you in the next video, and bye.